Hello and welcome. This is Alchemist X, and I wish we were meeting under better circumstances, because the purpose of this video is to talk about my dissatisfaction with the game thus far. Like, as you may have noticed, I haven't put out a weekly update video for the previous update nor this week, and that's not just a I'm too busy thing. That is a conscious choice that I made because I just don't want to promote the game in the state that it's in, because it's been very, very buggy and the communication has been very, very bad. And this is the combination of those two things are damaging the community as a whole. And then if you have a game without a community, it's probably not going to last too long. So I'm hoping that this situation can still be salvaged. I don't think it's completely beyond repair at this point, but I think it would be foolishly optimistic to think there's a good chance of that happening. But I'm not, this is not an I'm quitting video. I'm not quitting yet because the issue, the auto repeat bug and the people who can't log in, that hasn't been completely resolved yet. So I need to see like what Gumi, like assuming they can fix it, once they do fix it, what the restitution is going to be like, and will there be any significant changes going forward? Because I just don't think a game this buggy on like this regular basis can really be sustainable. So just in case, a quick recap, if you will. So February 10th, that was the update where people started experiencing auto repeat bug, myself included, other people, like important people to the community as far as like Discord and Reddit goes. And just immediately, we put tickets in, that kind of thing, all the stuff you would expect to try and solve IT issues. And it's been, it was decently, like, not great, but at least existent, attentive at first, and then like the issue wasn't getting fixed. The next reset, they had a maintenance that for a lot of people didn't fix any of the bugs that they're experiencing. I put some polls out on Twitter to try to get an idea, small sample size, but it's definitely not just a few people. I also looked on Facebook, and the comments for every update on their page is always just filled with people that are having issues. So it is not just like a couple of people. There are a decent number of the player base that are finding the game unplayable. And the timing of that is extra bad because they had that season pass. People paid for that. If they can't log into the game, then they basically paid for nothing. And Gumi has not been reassuring that like people are going to be properly compensated, not just for their time, but like for the stuff they literally paid money for. And because of all of that, I can't see myself supporting the game. So I'm 100% not renewing any of my like packed subscriptions, and whether or not I were ever to resume it would depend entirely on how well they're able to step up, their QA and bug fixing and communication, because the communication is huge. So that's where the game is at right now. I hope that the next update fixes it, and then we can move on to the compensation and kind of figure out the next step of what's going to happen, because being kind of stuck in a limbo for like 2 weeks is not very fun. But I want to talk about the effect of the community and then how that can ultimately affect the game itself. Because like right now, there's still a lot of people that are able to play the game. Like when I was scrolling through the arena, I saw lots of Ignacios in there, and other people are still making videos on like bosses and stuff. So it's definitely still playable for, I think, the majority of players. And that's good, but like having people in the community be either about to quit or on the verge of quitting or quitting conditionally on how this debacle is handled, it's not a good spot. Because like one of the people that is really, really somebody I respect a lot in terms of like Reddit and the person who like manages the wiki, like they recently put out an open letter to Gumi. I'll put a link in the description to the Reddit article. I definitely think it's worth a read. It perfectly encapsulates the issues that are going on. And to me, like, if somebody that puts that much work into it, somebody who's been very dedicated, I mean, managing a wiki, that's like, they're not getting paid for that, but it's a great, great service. I myself have consulted that wiki numerous times, like usually for the update history, that kind of thing. And that's not something that I think I have the time to like take on that mantle. So like not having a functioning wiki would be just huge. Like imagine if whoever managed the Alchemist code database stopped doing that. Like that'd be terrible. It'd be a huge resource lost. And then for people that are trying to get into the game, they have less resources that they can go to understand the game better. And so that's why I think the community is really important. Like whether or not the people that do these things, like being Discord mods or Reddit mods, that kind of thing, whether or not they're spending a ton of money in the game itself, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I don't know. But the service they provide helps foster an environment where people are going to want to experience the game, and some of those people would be willing to spend money because they enjoy the experience. And ultimately, that's what's going to keep the game alive. So if the game keeps being buggy and has bad communication, people will leave, people won't want to foster that community anymore, and then eventually no one would want to play it at all. So that's my big issue with the everything that's going on right now, and what I'm most afraid of. Right now, basically I'm afraid for the community, but then that means in the long run the health of the game itself. And so that's why I don't want to promote a game that behaves this way. So what I do, I'm not doing this for money. This channel is small. I don't think Alchemist Code's audience is big enough that you could make a channel big enough to like monetize it via ad revenue by itself. Like I think if you were a multi-game streamer / video content creator, you could do it. But because my focus is so narrow that I don't really look at it that way, I look at it as like a community thing. Like, hey, if I can tell people stuff they can get, or if I could say, hey, this is a good banner to look out for, this is a bad structure banner to look out for, that's what I want to do. But in the end of the day, it's free advertising for Gumi, and I just don't want to do that. I don't want to reward them for behaving in such a way. So I'm going to check in again on Thursday and see, one, whether the bug is fixed or not, because if it's not, then that's a whole nother thing. And then I need to see how they plan to compensate everyone who's been so thoroughly affected by this issue. So hopefully the next video that I put out will be at least a little happier in tone. But that's all I got to say on this matter. So I will see you all next time.